Got an REC? There we go.
All right, meeting called to order. Please rise to salute the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members, please.
Councilmember Bory,
Here.
Councilmember Hunter, Supervisor Trombley,
Here.
Councilmember Rochester, and Councilmember Moore are absent.
At this time, hopefully Ann shows up. She's probably just stepped late at work. The approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from September 15th.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion that we approve the September 15th minutes.
Yep, and I think I heard what you just said, and
I agree too.
I agree with that.
Yep, just a typo, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's all. Yep.
Awesome.
All second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, minutes are approved. Nope. Petitions, presentations, communications? Anything from the audience? Nope. Okay, I'm going to jump into my report. Hopefully Ann will be settled by then. Jane is here. She is present.
Presentation now accounted for.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this, and then I'm gonna ask for a motion. Good evening. First and foremost, I need to point out that it is illegal to operate a fire hydrant. Only town or village personnel or fire department personnel can operate a fire hydrant under our laws. This is also a Clinton County Health Department regulation. That is drinking water that we're messing with. And it's also a fire safety regulation. Therefore, removing water from any fire hydrant is not permitted, period. Violators will be prosecuted. If any contractor or individual requires water in bulk for such uses, as example, hydro seeding, they must contact the village of Champlain to make an appointment to have your vessel filled by village employees at the village's wastewater treatment facility. This is the only location throughout the town that is allowed for this procedure, period. And there will be charges for all waters purchased from the outlet at that station. There was a dedication on September 17th at our Chute Cemetery. This was a dedication of a plaque to honor one of our Revolutionary War patriots, Anton Poland. The National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, the NSDAR, organized this event and provided the plaque. Guest speakers were New York State Assemblyman Billy Jones, myself, and family descendants of Anton, and of course our county legislator Calvin Castine was present, also recording for Hometown Cable. There will be a meet and mingle event here in the Northern Tier on October 12th at 5:30 p.m. held at the Minor Institute at 1034 Minor Farm Road, Shazy, New York. This event is comparable to the Chamber's Business After Hours. This is to bring our area business owners and our local leaders together to catch up with familiar faces and meet new ones. The event is being sponsored by You First Credit Union. We have sent out invitations to all businesses on our directory, and if I missed anyone, please forgive me and please attend. We have just completed paving on our section of the Harry J. McManus Northern Tier Rec Trail. The paving, minus the asphalt, was paid through a grant offered by Clinton County. Again, this work falls on our highway department. So thank you to Alan and the crew. Our whole town section is now paved. So, an awesome achievement. Last month's leadership leadership meeting was productive. We discussed ways to possibly create shared services to assist the village of Champlain in regards to water and wastewater operations. There are some opportunities for assistance, although full coverage is not possible. There were sharing of contacts, etc., which was helpful for the village of Champlain to attain assistance from other resources in neighboring cities and towns. We are moving forward with our marketing initiative, and this will be reported by Councilmember Mr. Bory. I've been working on many projects that will come to fruition this coming year regarding to the Restore New York grant funding to address abandoned properties, upgrades for our water booster station, and several solar projects, which will help follow guidance under our new solar law. For public announcements, the Champlain Fire Department Pancake Breakfast will be held on Sunday, October 23rd, from 7 a.m. to noon. Adults are $10, seniors $9, and children under 5 are free. There is a defensive driving course being held November 5th at 9 a.m. This will be held at the Rouse's Point Civic Center Conference Room. Note, we still have COVID test kits, surgical masks, and KN95 masks available if you need them. The town would like to appoint more alternates to the Zoning Board of Appeals and Planning Board. We're constantly looking for extra help. So please consider serving the town in this capacity, as we need talented citizens of this township to become involved and assist us in moving forward. This is probably getting old, but we still have mosquito dunks. Hopefully we don't have mosquitoes. We'll probably take that off next month.
Wait to the first frost.
Good idea.
I got left behind. And note, election day, our general election is Tuesday, November 8th, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And it will be here and in this office, and also in Rouse's Point at the Civic Center for the various districts. Thank you very much. And now, I'd like to make a motion to leave this meeting and go into executive session.
I make a motion that we leave the normal session and go into executive session at this time.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so it might be just as easy for us to stay in here, or we want to go to the office.
No, we stay here. Shut the door.
And just turn
Yes,
on.
please. Okay, so the executive session, by the way, I don't think I said this before, but it was for personnel reason. There were no decisions made, no actions taken, just discussion. And a motion to leave the executive session and go back into our regular business.
I'll make that motion to leave the executive session and go back to our normal meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
What time is it?
7:10.
7:30?
7:10.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, please.
Time warp.
We have a lot more to go through.
So, reports from the council members.
I only have one piece of
Rochester.
business. Mine's gonna be fast.
Okay.
The gentleman that I had been working with before, Jeff Travers, sent me a message asking if what we were doing with the employee handbook was still on the table. And I said, at this point, we're in the middle of our budget meetings, and we are very interested, but we can't really move forward because we want to make sure we have enough money to pay for it.
Yeah, we could move forward. It depends on how much leftover funds we have. We could, I'm
I told
thinking,
him we were tabling it for the moment.
yeah, I'm thinking in November we could schedule them. And either way, it's gonna either fall under next year's budget or get taken care of now. I'll talk to Sarah about it tomorrow.
Okay, good,
That was the intention, was to wait till October and make a decision
right.
on whether we do it in 2022 or
2 or
2023.
23, yeah.
What's his name again?
Jeff Travers.
That's right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks. Anything else?
No, I think, I mean, we have a lot on the go, but nothing for me individually to report on.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go next. Rick, you want to go this side?
That's fine.
Councilman
Um,
Hunter.
The proposed Rouse's Point Fireman's Breakfast that was scheduled for October 16th has been canceled at this time, unfortunately. I reached out to Mike LeBlanc and he didn't give reason or rhyme as to why, and I didn't press. So, but as of right now, it has been canceled. As Tom has already indicated in his supervisor's report, the Niagara Hose Annual Pancake Breakfast, again, is scheduled for October 23rd from 7 to noon, and that's exciting, and we look forward to that. Also, as a side note, there is a local business that has been doing fundraising each year to benefit local children in the area of food banks. It is called the Angel Fund Dinner. This is the 12th annual Angel Fund Dinner that is being put on at the Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW, on the St. John's Road on November 5th from noon until they sell out. There are takeouts that are available. If you would like more information, you can call 518-572-7020. This is a full-fledged turkey dinner, and
What were the hours again?
noon until they run out
Oh,
of.
they went out.
Yeah.
Turkey?
So I thought
So, and it's been very popular.
Yeah.
So there's roast turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, vegetables, cranberry sauce, roll, and butter, and apple crisp. So, for all the sweet tooths out there.
Yeah.
So,
Love that.
I think that is all that I have. I sent out one letter today in regards to an EDU appeal. So that right now, I CC'd, I believe, Jason, I CC'd Brian, and so we're waiting for that person to fill out the EDU appeal form, but at this time, there's no further movement on that,
Okay,
so,
thank you, sir.
okay?
Councilperson Lori.
Okay, I'll start with the zoning board of appeals report. Unfortunately, I was not able to make the last meeting, but just to recap everybody, it was on the light side. They did have a public hearing, they had an application that came back from the county, and the zoning board of appeals did move forward with that and did approve the application. So if anyone's interested in coming to the next meeting, it's going to be October 20th. If in fact there is business to be had. That's 5:30 right here at the town office, October 20th. So that's zoning. Next thing would be marketing. So September 28th, we gathered here several different community members, including people of the marketing team here for the town. We had, it was close to, would you say, 15 to 18 people here, something to that?
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, it was a very good turnout. We had a,
Healthy.
yeah, so it was a focus group, a nice, good,
It was a good mix.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a good-
I'm just trying to think of the really scientific word here. Good, it was a good population to kind of showcase various lifestyles, age ranges, people who are vested in the town and the two villages. So it was a pretty good, business owners, families. And we had a very lengthy discussion. It was over 2 hours long with Boyer Benner Group, where they polled the focus group in order to move us closer, move Boyer Benner Group closer towards a goal of how to rebrand the town and the two villages, with, kind of as a whole. They got a lot of good feedback, I think. There was a lot of good discussion. And I know for the even the marketing committee, I think it was very, very informative for us to kind of hear what their needs and wants are, and how maybe we can continue to address that in years to come on our own, through our budgets and our efforts, but also what Boyer Benner can do. So it was very, very, very appropriate. We haven't heard back from them yet, but I think they're taking, we were also given homework too. We had to take and send Boyer Benner some, what they would call keywords or phrases, in order to try to help develop a vision for them. So, and people were sending in some of those, and they're currently working on all that. So when we hear back from them, we'll make sure that we pass that information on. Along the same line, I talked with Paul Frederick on our next video, part 2. So he now has a list of the commercial or commercial positive or commercial possibilities, the locations in the town and the villages that he's gonna try to film. I think he's gonna do a lot of drone shots, so they'll be from the air kind of stuff, yeah, so people can actually see acreage and kind of see some of the roads that were built. I'm thinking Lincoln Boulevard being one, or the Paquette Drive, right? So there are there's some work happening there. So working on that, working on the script as well, and I talked to the supervisor about we're gonna need probably some real hardcore statistics in order to be able to put in that. It's gonna be more, not as, in comparison to the other video, it's gonna be a little more cut and dry. It'll be really for those people that are looking, the business-oriented minded. They're not necessarily in business for entertainment, but I think they're just like, where can I develop, what's available for infrastructure, that kind of stuff. And then part 3 will be our winter, so we're currently kind of just talking about that as well. But I want to thank Paul and
I think within that, Jason, we need to focus on a lot of the jobs and businesses that are here, and then we can build in that little piece, a segment of a family saying, you know, how much I like living here and working here.
yes.
So my question is along those lines, is it gonna be a concentration in terms of direct data that ties to specific industries and sectors inside of the town?
No, it was more to talk about how much acreage is here and.
Availability for
structure.
But some of that is part of what you're talking about too, Rick, because we're also gonna feature the border, so people
Yeah.
can see the size of the border stations here. The need for, I think there's a continuous, I don't wanna say revolving door, but I think the federal government is constantly looking to make sure that it's well-staffed. So that, and some of the few industries we do have here that can be, you know, well, this is here, what's the possibility of expanding upon this, or a, maybe like a pairing kind of company or something. And then, of course, available property, that's the other piece of the puzzle too, where it's located. You know, we've got commercial availability up at the board, all of the border spaces have that. Our commercial corridor here on 11, the industrial parks that we already have. So kind of highlighting that. I just a little side story, I remember being, talking with somebody a couple years ago at the county fair, and he was based out of Plattsburgh, and he says, well, I'm looking for some commercial space. And then when mentioned the fact that he'd looked in Plattsburgh, but it was kind of limited, he said, well, we got, you know, stuff up here in Champlain, was unaware of it. So it's a matter of really getting people to understand that it's not completely vacant and without anything here. We do have stuff that's move-in ready, or it's lot ready to be built or whatever. So it's a matter of letting people know that, because sometimes that could be a determining factor as to whether they want to look here or not, because they, oh, well, if I've got to do this and I got to do that, well, no, we've already got A, B, and C done for you. You just need to provide the D and maybe the E.
If it was aerial only, a lot of people might just think farm and ag. They wouldn't really recognize that there's, there are parcels available
Yes.
for that expansion and growth.
Yes,
So,
yes, correct.
Yeah.
I think the school's also going to be highlighted in there as well, just to see that it's a large campus and its connection to the greater community. So there's going to be a highlight of a few things in there. Anyway, so that's the next phase. He's working on that now. Of course, we're at peak foliage, right? So it should look very nice in the video. And then the other thing that I have, just remind people that the Hometown Heroes banners, the applications are available here through the town. Please make sure that you contact Sarah Gagno here at the town office if you're interested in applying for a Hometown Heroes banner. They're only going to be up for about a month longer. They'll be coming down very shortly. So hopefully You can continue to enjoy them, but they will be coming down for the winter months. Let's see, I think that's it. I only have one more, and there is a trunk or treat event, October 29th in the village of Champlain. That's starting at 2 o'clock, and that's for any of the kiddos that want to get all dressed up and go around in a safe location in order to go and get some treats and hopefully no tricks, but you never know. This is going to be at the Champlain Playground. Usually there's parking around Maiden Lane, and people can walk around and enjoy the trunk or treat. That's the 29th at 2 o'clock.
So nice of that.
Yeah, and did you mention the election?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's it, so ends the report.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Report from the town clerk.
You have my
Monthly report.
monthly report.
I make a motion that we approve the town clerk's monthly report, September 1st, dated through September 30th. A lot more revenues than what we normally see.
Yeah, it was busy for
It was very busy.
hunting licenses.
Yeah. Very busy.
Yeah, she's been very busy. There were a couple of days I couldn't even go over there and talk to her about anything. I'm serious.
I do work
There was
sometimes.
a line. There was a steady line to the door. Anyways, we have a
Turkey
first and a
hunters.
second, right?
We have a first. I don't think we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Report approved. Now we need the review of the post audit bills, and there's some additional, nope, just the post audit, right? Review of the post audit bills, everybody had time to look at that, and we don't need a motion on this one, do we? Yep. There's no questions on that. We'll move to the monthly bills.
I do have one question. So is this gonna be the last month where we're actually working with Motortronics? The fire alarm piece there, where Chimera is now kind of,
Yes, it's
so this is the last month, or is it already started in October?
been switched over.
Okay, all
It's,
right.
yeah, it's been completely
Because
switched
I had that
over,
question, yeah.
so it should have started.
Okay.
This first week of October,
Okay.
so,
Now, it looks like we're all set for road salt for the winter?
yep.
Yeah.
Still hauling sand and mixing,
Yep.
okay. That's all, and I'll need approval of the monthly bills, and we have additionals to go with it. Any questions on the bill list?
You just need a motion plus the additionals.
Yeah,
Do we need a separate motion for that transfer?
yes, we'll do that
Okay,
separately.
all right.
So just for the,
Abstract and the bills?
yeah,
Okay.
I've got a total of $140,469.72 with these additionals. You agree?
Which usually adds a
Yeah,
He's usually-
I'm not there today, so please bear with me. What's your number, Tom?
140, 469 and 72 cents?
I agree,
Okay.
so. I'll make a motion that we approve the abstract and the local bills as well as these additional bills.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Can we do roll call, please?
Councilmember Rochester,
Aye.
Councilmember Bory,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley.
Aye. Thank you, and you will notice that that also included the asphalt for the path, which is now
Like that?
complete, so that's pretty cool.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a long,
Yeah, and that did come in lower than expected. So
Oh, it did?
oh, how nice.
So that's gonna help us.
It comes in lower.
I'm still concerned about this booster station upgrade, how much that's gonna cost us. We need to get those quotes out in the year second.
Okay.
Quit worried about it. So anyways, thank you very much. Now we need to, might as well do that transfer so it doesn't get forgotten.
Mhm.
So we need to transfer the ARPA funding, the COVID money.
I make a motion that we approve the transfer of COVID money from, for the interfund transfer in the amount of $13,217.75.
And that is going to B 71.4.
Which is a playground rec trail,
Correct.
paving
That's for the
for
paving.
the rec trail.
Nice. I second that motion.
Thank you. And we get a roll call.
Councilmember Rochester,
Aye.
Councilmember Bory,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley.
Aye. Carried, thank you. You all have the code enforcement officer's report. Any questions on that? Got time to review it? And again, as you can see, there's a lot of permits issued. Permits about denied due to code issues, any variances.
I guess I did have one question.
Mm-hmm.
On his report, they referenced this subdivision that's proposed for the Clark Road. Whereabouts on the Clark Road is that,
It's
that
Can you
subdivision?
answer that, Joy?
Irene Lord's property.
Okay, I'm not familiar with
I
it.
think it's just
So is it on
north,
the-
just north of the Clark Road, right?
Yeah,
North side?
it's, well, the property borders Mason Road
Yeah,
and Clark.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
And there's a lady from Vermont that's putting up a new modular.
okay.
And is that anywhere near where they're talking about the,
Kind of across the road.
Our group from last week?
The solar, you mean?
yes, the
Yeah.
solar, yeah.
They're on the south side of Clark Road,
Okay,
behind the properties as well, so
okay.
a little ways away.
And who maintains the grounds on those after they're, somebody was asking
The
me
solar
that as a
company needs to.
resident over on Eden Lane, that they were saying behind them, that it wasn't necessarily being kept up. Well, maybe not.
So that's something we need Chris to look into, but it's probably, they're still under construction, they're not completed.
Right.
So I would think
It's
that
in the
would
beginning.
require a little slack, but
Yeah.
they are supposed to do the maintenance on it, just like they have to do snow plowing in the winter to keep it open, not only for their own maintenance people, but for fire and rescue.
Right.
And also removal once the term is up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long do those terms usually go for?
25 to 30 years.
Oh.
Yeah, so you do have to make sure that they're done right, they're here for a long time. So anyways, all good with these now? The report, I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Amen.
I don't have a written report from the highway department, there is none.
Okay.
Dog control officer,
And that was a good one.
Yep.
and we, just to bring you up to speed, we had another, second offense of a dangerous dog today, so the dog.
You did?
Oh, today?
The dog is, was removed this afternoon, is now at,
Eagle feathers?
is it Eagle's Nest or Eagle Feathers?
Eagle.
Eagle's Nest, isn't it?
Eagle's Nest.
Eagle Nest, yeah.
Yeah, Eagle's Nest. And, I think the hearing is tomorrow morning, so. Hopefully there's no appeal, because that could be costly, because there was a 30-day period that dog would be staying there.
Oh,
So, I don't know what we can do about it, but very expensive. And I think we'll be dealing with the bill afterwards. Any questions on?
So has the citation already been delivered to the
Yes,
owner of the dog?
yes.
Okay,
The dog's been picked up,
okay.
So what happened, did it attack a person, or?
yeah. That's serious, but yes.
And it's a repeat offense?
You know, the first offense was attacking another dog.
Right.
This is 2 documented offenses, so, you know, it's that 30-day window that hurts us. If they
Right.
appeal, they have 30 days to get their case in, and that's very costly, over $100 a day.
Wow.
So, as you saw in our budget, we're upping the amount
Right.
we require for this, it's another expense. Okay, correspondence, you have the minutes from the last zoning board meeting. You have GCO report. You see, busy as always, we have the defensive driving.
Can I just point out on that also, Tom, that if people are not available to actually take part in the defensive driving course that's offered at the Rouse's Point Recreation Center, it is also being offered, I believe, in Saranac
Saranac, yes.
on the
that's-
3rd
that's
of
true.
December.
That's
So, and, you know, with the cost of auto insurance, I think a lot of people could really benefit from that 10% reduction,
Mm-hmm.
so.
That's true, so December 3rd on 40 Clemens Street, Danmore, New York, Saranac Town Hall. Thank you.
Yes.
I didn't notice that. And you've got Charter Communications, your upcoming changes. And Clinton County Historical Association, the fundraising campaign.
I had no idea what a slate roof cost.
Oh,
Until I read that.
astronomical.
I could not believe the
Yeah.
proposed budget for that.
Mhm. Not cheap.
No.
Nothing is anymore, but, yeah,
No,
site's
it's not.
site's expensive. And security fire system, this is our email, just making you all aware that we did change Monotrons to Chimera. And under new business. First thing up is I'd like to approve moving forward, you know, with at least 2 estimates for engineering services for surveying and applications for DEC. I can tell you that the first one, which was, you know, the lower cost, does include geotechnical testing. It wasn't, if you looked at this and you went, it's not apples to apples, I did make a phone call to try to get a comparison.
Right.
So it does include it. The only thing that would change is if the DEC required drilling, and I don't believe they're going to. So in other words, as long as Alan goes out with the excavator and does 5 test holes for him, do his soil sampling and his photographs and their report,
Right.
it is in there. Or if you look at this one that's bulletized from this one, there's a large cost for that.
There is.
So, and the other thing I did do as well is sent these both to the DEC for review, and he gave a green light to either one.
Okay.
And he said they're both very good firms.
Okay.
Got no issues with either one of them, and they both include all the requirements.
Kind of timeline we're looking at?
Well, hopefully getting a lot of this base mapping and boundary work done this fall before snow flies. On this one, he didn't specify. This one, I think, was hoping to be done by March or April
That's fine.
in the spring. And that's really all we need, is if we can get this done by spring, that would be wonderful. With our delay on the other one, which still isn't settled, we've got another year's worth of sand there now because of hauling the sand out of West Plattsburgh. But we do need to get it
Very
ready.
finalized.
We need it ready. We don't wanna let it sit and wait and end up where we are.
And this would be under this year's funds?
22?
Excuse me.
I don't think the total's gonna be under this year's funds.
Okay.
Because it's gonna roll into next year. It may be, I don't see any reason why it can't be split, deposit them now and the final payment in next year's budget. I think that's Sarah that, that's my opinion.
Okay.
So are we prepared to make a motion to support one of these? I know I am due cost. And since I was told both have a green light by the DEC,
Right.
I see no reason not to go with lower bid.
I don't have the one other than
All right.
RMS, so, in front of me, so if you can just kind of
Oh, you're kidding?
summarize
Did that
that.
get sent out?
Yeah, no, I read it online, but I wanted to, so in terms of the,
I thought I
So-
sent it out to you guys.
you did, but it's just not here in the hard copy, at least I didn't see it, or maybe I went past it. That's very well.
That's okay. No worries.
Okay, this is the AES one that is 5 pages long.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
And their total was, oh, they had some different options.
Yeah, the meeting took the lowest option.
Okay, so 25,681.
No, that's coming up later.
It's not that one.
No, it's this one here, so. I emailed it to, they just got it to me over the weekend.
I printed it out.
Yeah, I-
Printing and printing
I
and
read it,
printing.
yeah,
I did receive it, but I just didn't,
Yes, correct. This was sent to us.
correct.
Yes,
Yeah, no, it was.
but I
Do
didn't
we
get
have to
printed
do the
everything.
agenda?
I don't think I have the RMS one.
Saturday or something.
Yeah.
You don't have you should have the RMS.
All right, where is that? In this pile
Yeah,
of.
it's in that pile. If you open up your, yep,
Book thing?
yes, you'll find it's in there.
Okay.
But substantial difference between the two. But
Okay,
that
so-
task 4 is where it doesn't seem like that's the majority of their cost either.
No,
You know,
So who is less expensive?
the Robert Sutherland.
Okay.
yeah, they totaled, I got 14,595.
Right. We don't think that there's a need for that geotechnical exploration because of Alan's due diligence.
Yeah, according
Okay.
to this,
Right.
that's gonna suffice.
Take care of it. Yep.
And if it didn't, even if you tack that on,
Right,
Okay, there it is.
still,
substantial, correct.
yeah. But being that the DEC looked at both of these,
Yeah,
they didn't have a problem with either one.
Correct.
It's telling me that they're gonna be fine with it.
right. So why spend an extra 9,000?
Right.
All right, so their total is 14,595.
Correct.
RMS, okay. and AES was 20-something.
Oh, gosh, it was like.
Without task
Well-
force, 25,681, so you're about, talking about an extra 9.
Yeah.
Has Sutherland ever done work for us in the past?
Yeah, he just did for the easement on the Dubois Road.
Correct.
And it was done,
We were very pleased with his work, and
yeah, it was very timely, thorough and timely.
You just need a motion?
Yep.
All right. Make a motion that we contract with RMS for the quoted price of $14,595 to do the engineering and survey for the sand and gravel pit
on the Pepper Hill Road.
on the Pepper Hill Road.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We're gonna do a roll call since that's money.
Is that Pepper Hill
Councilmember Hunter?
place? Is that off
Aye.
of Tappan?
No, it'll be off to Woods Falls Road. It connects Woods Falls Road and go back to Route 11, top of the hill, past Morse Forks.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, Rose.
That's where both the current sand pit that we're, that's not what this is. This is for the new one that we leased this year. We just signed that, what, 2 months ago, if I remember right? 3 months ago, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what this one's for. So we can
Okay.
get that one all surveyed, permitted, and ready to go.
So that we have a backup for.
Yeah,
our
so we're not in the
dwindling
position
sup-
we're in this
Is that
year.
our dwindling supply?
Yes.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Councilmember Rochester,
Aye.
Councilmember Bory,
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley.
Aye.
I did,
Thank
yeah.
you.
You were the first one.
Awesome. Next one on the list here is West Construction, the quote. You also had a quote from Rogers. This is just to put a little roof over that electrical panel, okay? And I'm gonna ask you guys to table this until the end of this spending of ARPA money. Because I don't feel this is that necessary, and I'm worried that we're not gonna have enough funds for that booster station.
Okay. I'm gonna make that motion that we table the quotes that have been provided for the existing pump station roof that can be decided at a later time once we examine our financials a little more closely.
Yes, thank you,
Yep.
I'll second that.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. No opposed? Yeah, I just,
What is it you're concerned about, Tom? What place?
well, this is several $1,000s, and it's just to put a roof, this is a lift station that we've been dealing with, we're doing it, it got painted, by the way, I've been by on the Dubois Road, but it is painted. Kessler's supposed to come up and rebuild the lift station, we're having a generator installed there, and new electrical panels to serve it all
Right.
on this panel board, which is a 6-foot wall, basically, right, that you
Mhm.
attach stuff to.
Yeah.
The thought from the original scope, when we first, looked at this project,
That's right.
and I believe it was from AES, they recommended a small roof over the top, so if people are working at the electrical panel in the rain, at least they're protected from the rain.
Right.
It's not a necessity, I checked, it's not a code requirement, it's,
More of a
it's nice to
convenience.
have, right?
Right, yes.
I just think that we're getting short on,
Oh, yeah, but
on
you're.
the cookie fund's getting low, and I don't wanna use it all and find out
No.
that
That we need something much more.
I'm $5,000 short for a project, and now we've gotta take money out of our water fund that isn't, that healthy.
Designated for that,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I just wanna table it and wait to the end.
Makes
and-
sense.
Yep.
And then if we have the funds, then we'll go forward and do it, it's not gonna hurt.
But you keep mentioning booster station that you're worried about.
That's the one on the Ridge Road that we're working on, that's that pump booster station where we had to do an emergency replacement of an elbow because it was all
Oh,
rusty.
okay, yes, yes.
And we have a pump that's leaking, the whole,
It's kind of a disaster area.
it needs to be rebuilt because of its age.
Right, it's age.
So we've got a report from the engineering firm, which is a project manual on what needs to be done and what equipment has to be bought, purchased, and so on. So now, we're gonna be addressing here soon is, an RFP is gonna have to go out to, at least 3, local firms that
Engineering
do
firms?
plumbing, contracting
Plumbing
firms
firms, okay,
that would be qualified to install this equipment.
okay.
And I don't know what that's gonna cost, you know? And not knowing
It's
is
a little scary.
not
yeah.
knowing is not good,
Yeah.
you know, so we need to get those numbers, because right now we've got a list, and we've got this much money left, and it's like, I hope that's enough to finish that project, because that's the most important one as far as I'm concerned. It needs to be rebuilt.
Because it could mean a stoppage of
It could, yeah. you
water,
could-
and to be told
Well-
that, yeah, I would say that's very important.
Could, yeah.
Look at Florida and look at, where is it? Where floodwaters do so much. The road without water.
So- So that's what that's about, yeah.
Okay, yes, now it's,
So thank you for tabling that, I'll put that, make sure it gets on the old business list for next month. It'll probably be months before we revisit it, but I don't wanna forget it either. Probably to assist us.
So we'll reach out to these 2 people
And let
that
'em know
submitted
we've
quotes
tabled
and
it.
let them know that at this time.
At this time, we're tabling it.
Yeah.
Revisit it probably in the spring, by the time we know for sure what we're doing. Next thing on here is your Champlain EMS budget. So you've got the details of how that budget's comprised. Rick, did you come up with any questions that you think need to be asked?
I do have a question. I mean, when I look at the, you know, the operational cost, in terms of expenses, how old is their vehicle? Because they've increased their vehicle maintenance by $10,000. They've increased their vehicle maintenance by 33%. So I guess I wonder why that's up so much. Medical supplies, I have no idea in terms of what medical supplies cost, but that's also up $10,000, which
that
is
I wouldn't doubt.
almost 23-24%.
Yes,
know?
judging from what I see in the dental office.
Right.
And what we're paying for different things.
So that's gone up?
Oh my
Everything's
God,
up?
astronomical, it's just like at the grocery store, you go one week and
Right.
it's one thing, and
Right.
it's terrible like twice the next week.
Fuel is self-explanatory. I mean, when you look at the cost of fuel, I get that. I get the actual Champlain station in terms of lights and electricity and cable and trash and stuff, but, you know, and then the other thing is just a large increase in the, you know, they're up 150,000 in their employee wages.
That's because of the additional employees, and that's what, essentially, that's what the difference is here.
Correct. That's a large amount. That plus the, you know,
We may not be able to afford that.
I don't know if we have an alternative.
Yeah, I don't either. I think, I mean, I'd be glad to make a phone call to Corey and give him your concerns and see what he has to say about those things. But I would like to talk to him before we sign the agreement.
So those employee wages are, he's indicating it's all on the basis of one additional hire? So,
Hmm.
so salary and benefits, $150,000 it's up by?
I thought it was 3 hires. I thought it was
Is it?
2 techs and 1,
Okay.
what do they call them?
EMT or first responder, I don't know.
It's something life support. Let's just say EMT.
Okay, so 3 total people.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Well, that sounds more reasonable.
Yeah, it does. That sounds much,
Yeah.
okay.
And they've obviously determined that they need that extra staff.
Correct.
So either it's a volume of,
It was, the way it was explained to us, I mean, this is, you know, as I said, this came in higher than expected from that meeting, but the way it was explained is it's in order to give full weekend coverage, because they weren't able to do that.
Right.
You know, they were lacking, they didn't have a driver and missing a tech, or, missing EMT, et cetera, you know, so it's.
So this gives them, by bringing this on, so we can try to put like a face on this. So by bringing on these additional staff members, they're now able to operate properly 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay.
What is that under? Paid staff employees?
Yeah, it's on the back, it's the last page in, under paid staff and employees.
Yeah,
It shows what the additional is.
I don't have anything on any of the backs of these.
Oh, the last page.
What do you meant by the back, is the last page?
Yes, he says
If you
paid
look at
staff
the-
employee, but it's the second one down.
So if you look at your total, there was an increase of 170,000.
Okay, all right, well, it's this workers' comp.
So I guess a question
Okay, yes, yes.
I would have is, are they going to, because I noticed their billing revenue is down almost $40,000. Are they going to kind of shift some of that burden to the people in the community that actually receive the services? Or is it going to continue to see, like, the town revenue is up 51% of the total income? So are they gonna start to shift that a little bit to the billing itself? And I get it, when they send out these bills, I had an opportunity to go through it last year, so I know how it works and how I had to kind of respond and send payment. Are people not sending in payments, and as a result, that's why there's a decrease in that billing revenue? I don't know.
Why don't we, would you guys welcome,
Corey, to talk?
yeah.
That would be good.
How about the next budget meetings? If I
That would
get
be
it?
good, just so I can wrap my head around the
I
whole.
don't disagree with that, especially when you have to explain this to Joe Q. Public, who
Mhm.
wants to understand why we have to increase our budgetary contributions. It's best for us to have some answers.
Right.
You okay if I get them here at the budget meeting?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's,
I'm leaving that one out.
yes.
To be continued.
So that essentially gets tabled, and I guess all I was looking to do was get approval to sign the contract, but I assume that you would have the same discussion we just had.
What's the deadline for
Yeah,
that
that would-
anyway, for the contract?
I think it's January,
Is it Jan? So,
till the end of December in other words.
yeah. Or for budgetary purposes,
It's got, yeah.
It's gotta be
It's
October.
gotta be,
Do people's insurance cover that at all?
Not
Yeah.
everything.
not everything, that's what happens.
Right.
Is, if you've got good insurance, yes, it covers
Same.
most of it, but then if you've only got Medicare, or worse yet, Medicaid,
Oh,
it only pays a very small portion.
yeah.
Without gap insurance or other.
Subsidies. I remember when Dan broke his ankle, I went it there, and I had to crawl to get help. That was before he was a believer in cell phones, you know? Now he's a true believer. But he crawled up on some poor girl's porch and knocked on the bottom of her door, because he couldn't stand up. And then she got an ambulance for him, and I think we ended up paying 1 cent.
Okay, next one, we need to set a public hearing for local law number 3, the community choice aggregation energy program. So this is for the project on the Clark and Mason Road. So this, what this will do when this gets enacted, so tonight, I guess I should read it, because really I'm introducing it tonight. So let me just read the preamble at least. So this local law number 3 of the year 2022, in the town of Champlain, this local law adding a new chapter to the town of Champlain code entitled Community Choice Aggregation Energy Program, known as CCA. Being enacted by the town board of the town of Champlain as follows. Section 1, add new chapter to the town of Champlain code entitled CCA as follows. Article 2 is the purpose of this local law to seek to reduce the cost of natural gas and electricity to its residents. The purpose of this CCA program, as described to the town of Champlain by the administrator, is to allow participating local governments, including the town of Champlain, to procure energy supply service for their residential and commercial customers who will have the opportunity to opt out of the procurement while maintaining transmission and distribution service from the existing distribution utility. So I want to be clear to the public out there that this is an opt-out system. In other words, once this goes active, if you don't want it and you get your first invoice or whatever, make the phone call or go online and opt out if you don't want it, but this should give you savings. This chapter establishes a program that will allow the town of Champlain to report its designated agent for that purpose to put out for bid the total amount of natural gas and/or electricity being produced by the residential and commercial customers. Bundled customers will have the opportunity to have more negotiating strength and consequential potential to lower their overall energy costs and to improve customer choice and value by providing additional alternative source for electricity and natural gas, thereby fulfilling the purposes of this chapter and fulfilling an important public purpose. So that's the introduction to the law, and we need to set a public hearing. So when, our next meeting is November 8th, correct?
I believe so.
So, we'll-
Okay, do that, it's election night.
It is.
oh God, you're right.
So do we have to move that date? or-
We're gonna have to move the meeting date,
I
aren't
would
we?
think so.
You are right.
And I know the village has their meeting on the 7th, so I don't know. Do we run later that week? I don't know.
There are 5 Tuesdays in November.
Right.
Do you think that it's a real negative to run it, have the meeting on the 7th, the same night? You're considering people.
People that might want to go to
Be in.
both, I
Yeah.
just hate to take that away from
Yeah, take that out
constituents.
now. Yeah, I know.
Well, we
Chances are
did
slim.
it the week after.
Right. Yeah, I agree, Jay. You could run the 15th, but I don't know, do we want to? Because that still would allow us between November and December, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks before our December meeting. I don't know what people think.
Well, I guess first of all, if we were to, we just interrupted my calendar. If we were to move it to the 9th, is that possible for the board members to make a Wednesday night meeting? You can't, right? Okay. So the 15th would be better for you,
Yeah, or Thursday the 10th.
or Thursday the 10th? So Thursday the 10th is fine with me.
At this time, I don't know of anything that's,
What's your feeling?
I'm hoping soccer's still going.
What's the safest bet? Even on Tuesday, you could have something.
I could, that's what I mean, I don't know right now, but
Well, Thursday's fine for me,
I think Jay's the one that's got more,
on the ball.
because when is your,
No, I could do it. Yeah, it should be, I should be able to do that, just
Okay.
based on what I'm seeing here.
okay.
That's the 10th.
And you think it's okay for Brian?
I hope so.
And we still do a 6:30, correct?
Correct.
Is that okay, Jay?
So do we need 2 motions into this?
So
Think
we
so.
will change the meeting to that.
So we need a motion to move our meeting to November 10th due to the general election.
And do we have to publicize that also, for,
Yeah, I'll put it in the paper.
okay.
Are you allowed to put both motions together? The public hearing and the change of the meeting date?
No, I'll do everything separately. We're gonna have there's 4 public hearings, I think.
That's true.
Actually, we got 1, 2, 3, 4.
And so that doesn't run into an issue with the zoning board or planning or, Okay.
Ooh, wait a
Wait a
minute.
minute.
Aren't they on Thursday?
Yeah,
That's what I'm,
we do.
that's what I'm asking, that Thursday, isn't that a,
We do have, the planning board's the 10th now, because of, we had to go the 30 days.
It wouldn't have been, but they had to move their.
Yeah, we had to move ours to the
Okay, so that's it, we'll do 15.
15th.
Okay.
Okay?
I think you said that.
Good thing you said that is right, thank you.
Okay, let's see, that's June.
so 15th it is.
And hopefully, I don't think it's any issues with Sarah, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, so 6:30.
Okay.
There's a deadline for when the budget has to be approved by.
The 10th.
It's gonna be approved by the 10th.
It's gonna be approved by the 10th, so we'll end up with a special meeting then, if we do this. Yeah, by state law, it's gotta be approved by the 10th.
Well, then let's get on it, we'll just.
So, well, we picked what, the 16th, and then we also picked the, what was the other date on that, on the budget? If we needed a third. That was a 20.
Well, why can't we do
The first?
the first of November? I mean, it's.
I want to say it was like the 16th and the 26th
Oh, October.
of October. So we should be done.
We should be done then, yeah, but we do have to approve it at the business meeting.
We can't do it on the same day.
26th? Don't we have to present it? Don't you have to?
We usually have a public
You have to
hearing.
have a public hearing to present it.
true.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of public hearings in this meeting once we finally figure out the date. There's several more.
Okay, scratch that.
We can't have our meeting on
Seven?
election night? I mean, just at the other end?
In the court?
I mean, why can't we just, because the election's down here, I mean, why can't we meet down there on the 8th?
Or can we move the elections into the garage? I don't know. There's more room in there.
Is the courtroom available on?
Usually the courtroom's available on a Tuesday night, there's nothing that goes on, so why can't we just meet down there?
I'm all for it.
I'm okay with that. I didn't know it was an option, so I'm fine with it.
I mean, that way we really don't have to change anything and we're
True.
gonna meet the deadline.
It doesn't set off that whole domino effect of we're screwed with here.
So let's leave the meeting night alone.
Okay.
I will,
We'll just
I will,
meet down there.
I will confirm tomorrow,
Oh, that's
I'll confirm tomorrow that we can use the court
Yeah.
and we'll meet down there.
Okay.
If not, it's your office with the.
I take it this hasn't happened before.
I don't
Well,
recall it
we've
happening.
we had to change the meeting nights, but I don't know why it was such a, maybe it was different, I don't know.
Election's always been that first Tuesday, or the second
Second
Tuesday
Tuesday,
of the month in November, so. I don't know, why haven't we run into that?
yeah,
I don't know.
That's odd.
that's what I'm saying.
just the way it falls, I guess, this year.
That is odd.
So that'll happen every, what, 7 years?
7 years,
It'll be a
correct.
conflict, something to that effect.
Let's see, 4.
Or 6
No,
years.
Yeah, that would
no,
make
'cause our
sense.
meeting's always the second Tuesday. So they should coincide.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
Right.
well, let's not worry
Right.
about.
That is
why.
true.
Let's just move right along.
Whether it's
here.
midterm or whatever, right?
So we'll keep it for
Yes.
November.
It wouldn't matter.
We're gonna keep it there for now.
Well.
And we will find a way to make it work.
So maybe we don't need to let the public know.
So if we have to, we can meet in the garage.
Yeah, that's true.
Or, and the other thing, you still need to publicize this, because it's a change of location now.
No, we can
No,
tell.
it's
In
still
terms
at
of
the
where we
town.
meet, right?
No, it's
No.
still at the town.
No?
So
office.
last year, the election day was on the 2nd. So you have to have one Monday before you can have election day, and because the first falls on a Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's written that way. You've got
So
to
it's not
have
the
one
second
Monday
Tuesday.
before you can have, so it will not always conflict.
Gotcha.
Good.
Yeah, I don't ever remember this happening.
That would be why. So the criteria is one Monday of the month has to fall prior
Correct.
to the
The
election.
earliest it can happen is the 2nd, and the latest it can happen is the 8th. It can fall within that range of time, and that's it. And then it just resets.
So it probably hasn't happened for 7 years.
So we'll be meeting in the court.
I think so. Or
Yeah,
they're
this
gonna,
will be our court
they
year.
wouldn't lose the elections, right?
I doubt it.
Hopefully, it's the only time I remember in court.
Yeah.
Unless I'm watching my son.
That's right. Buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave that alone, so we're gonna set the public hearing for that same night as well?
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And we have room there if we have
So we are back to the 8th.
attendance?
It should be okay.
Yes, the crossed out.
Yeah, we
Can
just
we-
have to go down
Can we
and
use,
fix it.
can we use the bench?
I don't know.
There
You
isn't really much
better
room on the
ask.
bench, we're gonna have to set up tables or.
Out in front.
Out in the front, and then they've got the chairs to sit.
Okay. Okay.
Well, they
Or if
moved
we-
this,
or if
don't
we
they
have
move
to.
most of this out of here?
No,
They don't.
They work around it.
or, I mean, if we have to, we could meet in the garage, it's not like it's,
Right, it's fine.
if we feel
As long
there's
as
gonna be a
there's a
lot
chair.
of
That's where
people,
the caucus
we
was,
can set up
remember?
tables and,
We'll figure it out.
yeah.
All right, so
We'll figure it out.
November 8th.
I just wanna make sure it's
Good job.
room, because you do have all these public hearings.
got
And also on the 8th, we have to approve
The
What?
budget,
the budget.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're setting a public hearing for local law number 3 right now?
Yep,
Mhm, correct,
so that will be on the 8th.
correct.
The same night?
Are we doing it at 6:45? What's that, how is that gonna play out, Tom? You picking a time?
Yeah, 6:45.
I think so. We could go into public hearing right away, right? You know, since there's gonna be multiples, do I go from one right to the next, to the next, to the next?
Well, usually that's, what- yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
that's that one.
Okay, so next on the list is this, my paper's out of order.
Yeah, we got
Local law 4,
Local
which is
law
income
4.
eligibility.
I may have just gone too far in my stack.
That's it right there, Tom.
See it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
All right. I need to introduce this as well, or?
I will.
So, local law number 4 of the year 2022. A local law to increase the income eligibility to $26,000, maybe for the annual amount, for persons with disabilities and limited income in accordance with Chapter 187 of the laws of 2006, and to increase the income eligibility to $26,000 for property owned by persons 65 years of age or older in accordance with Chapter 186 of the laws of 2006. So the purpose of this law is to increase the maximum income ceiling from the current $20,500 to $26,000 for the real property tax exemption for property owned by disabled persons who meet certain income limitations, and also results in an increase in the sliding scale portion of the exemption as outlined below. This law would be on the website, will be on the website for people to view.
Yeah, we can put it on there.
Yeah, let's do that. So if anybody's interested in looking at it in detail to see what that means, currently what's happened is if you make $1 more than that
20,000.
20,500, you don't get the exemption.
Correct.
With this, you will have a sliding scale. So even if you made, I'll give you an example, even if you made 33,500 or more, but less than 34,399.99, you still receive a
5%.
5% exemption.
Yep.
So this would be very good for
Seniors.
seniors and people who are struggling with a lower income job. I mean, it's gonna help a lot of people.
Good.
So that hearing will also be scheduled for November 8th.
So we put 7 o'clock?
That works.
I guess if I get ahead, it's not gonna matter, right? Okay,
Are you promising us you're gonna get ahead?
well, if there's not a lot of questions, we can go through this pretty fast.
Yeah.
It depends if there's people here to ask a lot of questions and have comments, so
We have to stack the audience.
you put them all at 6:45? Can't do that, huh?
Oh, I would say
Usually
it's
we
important.
schedule them a few minutes apart.
Right.
But-
Usually 15, yeah.
Okay. And then local law number 5, how come, did I leave that one?
Is it local law 5 or is it municipal law 3?
No, this is local law 5, it's the next one. This is the tax cap.
Right.
Yeah, I got it right here.
I don't think I have it.
Looks like this.
Local law
That's it,
five.
the tax, the
Yeah.
override the tax levy.
Okay, but that's referencing general municipal law 3C. Okay, yep,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, local law 5, the year 2022. This is the local law to override the tax levy limit established in general municipal law 3-C. We are currently working on the budget, and because of budget constraints and cost, we may need this. So this is introduced now, we set a public hearing, we approve it that night.
Yes.
Correct. Access to the tax levy limit, and it does require 60% vote, correct? If we do have to.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So that's at 7:15.
That's 7:50. I got it.
Whoops, I'll get it after.
Okay.
Now we need to approve the court grant, resolution number 23. That says right, Julie?
Yep.
Yeah, that goes with the local law. That's
Oh, here it is, I got it. So the town court is requesting authorization from the town board to apply for funding from the Justice Court Assistance Program during the upcoming grant cycle. Resolution number 23, JCAP grant for Champlain Town Court for the 2022-2023 cycle. The board of the town of Champlain authorizes the town of Champlain Village Court, that should be town court.
Town court, yeah.
Need to make a correction there. Town of Champlain Town Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the 2022-2023 grant cycle up to $30,000.
Have 30, or is it just an approval on this?
I need a motion to approve it.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve resolution number 23 for the GCAP grant for the Champlain Town Court for the 2022-23 cycle.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Resolution's approved. Okay. Mr. Dennis Ryan wanted to speak on behalf of this proposal to answer any of your questions. Shoot text. Let's see. His phone. So this proposal letter, this net metering credit agreement, we approve of this proposal, then he will send me a document I have to sign to enter into this agreement, so they can start working with NICEAG on our behalf.
Okay.
This is just a follow-up.
Hello, Dennis. You're doing fine, sir. We just got to your order of business. I apologize. It's almost an hour later than I thought it would be, but we had an executive session to attend to, so it took some time. So,
Thank you for, calling. For me, I'm working, it gives me a chance to work, so I'm good. You know, you guys are the ones that are away from your families.
So we just started discussing what this proposal letter was about, what it was for. I explained that this will allow us to sign in a affidavit, I think is what it's called, I believe, so you would be able to go to the
Letter of consent.
letter of consent, thank you.
Yeah, so letter of consent is so that we can reach out to NICEAG and get some questions answered related to the town's electrical usage.
So this is in direct relation to the offset of costs we'll receive from the solar energy produced, correct, Dennis?
Correct. So basically, just in a nutshell, because you and I had some detailed conversations, and I'm not sure everybody else had. So what we do is we go out and we find a system. Like basically, you gave me the town's usage, and we're designing a system that'll offset 100% of the town's usage, or as close as we can get. And basically, so what happens is there'll be roughly 400 kilowatts of solar. I can't remember how many solar panels it is, but basically a portion of the landfill will be dedicated to the town's use. And so for every kilowatt that's generated in electricity, basically one net metering credit is created. And so the credits are actually assigned to the owner of the account, and that would be the town. And so as the credits accumulate, as we generate solar energy, the credits accumulate each month. A credit is given to your bill. And what's neat is the actual credit is the last item. So like if your bill's $100, then they have the credit afterwards. And so, you basically save it on all your, it's not like they give you a credit on a certain portion of your bill. They just take it off the end. And so basically the credit amount, there's 100%, we actually share the utility cost of the credit, and we split it on an 85-15 basis. So the town, in essence, if the system is sized right, will be offsetting at least 15%, will be saving or reducing its cost per kilowatt by 15%, because that's the value of the net metering credit. And so today I spoke to you, and I mentioned to you, I was surprised at the value of the credit. Kathy Hopel had they restarted the credit program in April of 2022. At the time, the credits were 15 cents. And they've dropped down now because as so much solar is getting into the system, they dropped the credit down by 3% every so often, 150 megawatts of solar projects. So it's down to 12 cents now. And so we split the 12 cents, I think it's roughly, it's 85-15, so the town would get roughly 1.8 cents. And that 1.8 cents is actually offset the price of kilowatts that you pay. So, if we size the system to meet your demand of 100 kilowatts, just to use general numbers, and, we're saving 15% on 100 kilowatts of energy, that means you're going to be saving 15% on your cost for electricity. And the actual credit is provided to you in your bill every month, and then you pay us. Once you look at the bill, and whoever does the bill looks at the bill, goes, oh, hey, $100, okay, you write us a check in theory for $85. And we use that $85 to pay for the solar project. That's how it pays for the solar panels installed that are used for the town. And so if the town is a smart buyer of electricity, which a lot of municipalities are, God bless you. And basically, if you're a smart buyer of electricity, that 1.8 cents could represent more than 15% of your kilowatt cost. Like I think I used, sometimes a lot of municipalities have 6 cent kilowatt right now. And so, if they go to the Energy Mark or something like that, you get discounted kilowatt hours. And I know they're going up, but just say you had a 6 cents kilowatt, which is pretty common in the last few years. basically at 1.8 cents constitutes 30% of the kilowatt value. So you're not saving 15%, you're saving 30. So, basically, that's the plan. There's no upfront money. The proposal is so that we can actually talk with NICEAG, because they
Right.
won't speak with us.
Right.
And then once we have the clarity and we get everything, because we have to submit a $5,000 payment application with our application to them. And then basically, then they give us a letter, a number in the queue. And once we have the queue number, then we'll be able to come back and say, okay, here's the agreement that we have. It's, basically it's a utility credit sharing agreement. And, it's based on the agreement that you have in front of you. Because the utility credit sharing agreement that we ultimately sign is actually, that's the condensed version that you have in front of you. So
Okay.
the questions are all similar in order and things. The lawyers, they do that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So if we approve this tonight, this last page, do I need to sign this and scan this back to you, or do you have something else you're gonna send me?
No, if you could just sign the last page and send it to me, I'll sign it, countersign it, and send it back to you. And then basically, I'll get my engineer on it. I think I had sent you previously, our engineers did some drawings
Yes.
and layout, and they did a few, because, sometimes you have to, it's like throwing darts at a bullseye. Sometimes you don't get the bullseye in the first shot. And, but I think they've done a good job. And, using as much of the space as we can, and because that's the whole thing, is trying to make the best use, because we still have side, setbacks and things like that, and then the road to the shooting club, and we don't want to, and we have figured we had to make accommodations for that. So, overall, I'm excited by this project. I'm excited to the opportunities that we have. I'm excited to work with the town. And the cool thing about what we're doing here, and I don't think we talk about this too much, it gets the town in compliance with the Climate Protection Act of 2019. That's the act signed in by Cuomo that said 75% of all electricity has to be from a renewable source by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And 100% by 2040. And the DEC is actually hiring people to write tickets for that. So you're going to have to prove at some point that we have an agreement here. And what's cool is this agreement that we're going to be ultimately working on, gets the town into compliance, and you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Because as we get closer to 2030 and 2040 respectively, it's going to be hard to find projects like this. Because, and then it's going to be more money, and the credit value will be less, because the credits go down by 3%, like I mentioned earlier, every 150 megawatt projects.
Do you have a question, Rick?
Yeah, and Dennis, Rick Hunter, can you talk a little bit about the escalation rate that is mentioned in the documentation? That 3% or CPI, whichever is greater, what the impact effect is, not only to the town, but the constituents that are taking advantage of this?
Yeah, basically the idea is to keep track with the, with the cost of power. The credit never gets, there's never a negative amount, you know what I mean? So basically, the actual amount that it can go up is limited. But what happens is the credit doesn't stay 12 cents. Now, the credits, please forgive me, because this gets really boring and a little bit confusing, because it's New York State, you know what I mean? So I don't know how much you all know about the value stack, and what we do is a net metering credit in New York has what's called a value stack. This means there's 4 components in it, maybe 5, sometimes I forget. One of the components has a value for the environmental attributes of the project, because in order to be in compliance with the law, New York has to take the environmental attributes of the project, and then they give the town an IOU saying that you met your requirements. And now for some people or some customers, that IOU doesn't work, like Cummins, the engine company. We're working with them, and they actually have to go out and buy RECs to offset, because the New York IOU doesn't count. But the other parts of the value stack actually are related to the cost of electricity and the cost of, day ahead cost of electricity, congestion pricing, And so those are the other parts of the value stack. So what's gonna happen is the environmental attribute stays the same for 25 years. It's locked in by the state. And that's 2.741 cents. So of that 12-cent net metering credit, 2.741 cents is the equivalent of the environmental attribute. And so the other parts, are broken up based on, whatever, how New York does it. So what will happen in the future is if we have, say, from 2022, or say 2027 to 2028, the CPI was 2%, and so we had an annual increase of 3%. Traditionally, the cost of the power is going to go up as well. So that net metering credit, it may be 12 cents now, but as the cost and demand and congestion and things like that increase, forgive my voice, I'm just getting over COVID. So I'm kind of, today's the first day I can talk pretty well. But anyway, so to answer your question, there is no negative effect because the growth of the credit value ties into the growth of the economy as a whole.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Thank you, yes.
I want to clarify something based on what Rick questioned though. This does not apply a reduction in cost to the constituents. This is the town.
Correct.
So in other words, I'll use an acre as an example. This acre of panels that you're putting up for us is just going to supply power to offset the municipality.
Yeah, well, it actually doesn't, that's great, that is true, because our only customer here is the town of Champlain. The individuals, because there's two different programs.
Yeah.
There's also what's called community solar, and that's what I think you're getting at, Supervisor, which is where community residents can participate.
Correct.
And some of the other solar companies in your neck of the woods or people that you've been approached to may be, because that's the big thing they're incentivizing right now in New York,
Yeah,
is community solar.
Yeah, we have one
To
that's
me-
doing that.
Yeah, you know what it is then.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that. So this one is basically devoting an acre or so just to offset our power.
The town of Champlain, yes.
And we're talking about 36-acre landfill?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
So the remaining panels that he's putting in
Uh-huh.
will be to generate power for his hydrogen project.
Okay.
Correct.
So we get,
So that's his portion of the business.
that's his baby. Okay, our baby's the
And
one
then,
with
and then
labor.
he pays us a lease, a fee per month
For that,
for that.
okay.
And then we also donate to the town in a form of a community benefit agreement,
Yep,
which provides a flat rate for the solar, and I think it's $10,000 a year.
yes, I think that's what you proposed, yes.
Yep, and then a percentage of there's money that's provided based on the output of hydrogen. So that's the second part, so you get a little more money there. It's probably gonna be, on a system this size, maybe 18 to 20,000 a year, 15, 18, something in that
So that
range.
goes into the general coffers or
Mhm,
to help fund projects that
mhm,
we would like to see happen?
It's
mhm.
a donation. It's a
I like that
donation.
idea.
It's a donation
And
for
the only thing that we ask you to go to is to actually help improve the public's community benefit, you know what I mean?
Right, so an example would be installing electricity and a bandstand in our park, for example, for community events.
Makes
Or
sense.
like in one of the towns we're working in, we're putting in a adaptive fishing platform, because our
Okay.
project is right next to a fishing creek, and so, we're opening it to the public, we're gonna have it, maintain it as part of the project, and, things like that. So every community is different, so we just wanna come in and say, hey, here's how we wanna help, and hopefully, we can't tell you because it's a donation, we can't tell you what to do with it, you know what I mean, but we sure as heck just don't want it to go in the general fund, if possible, because, like Parks and Recreation, one of the communities we're working on,
Well, that's
the
what we meant.
kids are gonna have recreational uniforms for 25 years, you know what I mean? So
Right.
soccer kids and the baseball team and everything like that. So that kind of stuff is, awesome, because it's the little intangibles that make quality of life that sometimes get lost in the budgetary shuffles or stress.
Yeah, you're right, Dennis.
And so if we can help, it's up to you guys. Sorry, you all, and if we just want to just give the idea and work together and go from there.
Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions?
Mhm.
I suppose we should put this to vote, just to be on the safe side. I think that we're agreeing to a proposal.
Mhm.
So I have a motion to enter under this agreement based on this proposal. Is that the best way I could put it?
Well, it seems like a win-win.
Oh, it all is.
Yeah.
Make a motion
Just approve the proposal. I think is
to
what we're gonna
approve,
say.
yeah, okay, I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for the net metering credit agreement as provided by, is it ESG Energy Holdings LLC.
Yep.
Have a second?
I would second it.
Okay.
Like the idea of having good things happen for our community.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Dennis, I'll try to get this to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Dennis.
And I look forward to meeting you all in the near future.
Yeah, same.
Right.
Yes, same here, Dennis.
Mhm.
Okay, and have a good evening.
Thank you, you as well.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Poor guy just getting over cold.
It sounds like there's a lot to be had with this. What might be minuscule in dollars, maybe not,
Well,
is also, yeah, I don't think it's minuscule, honestly.
No.
I mean, I know we hear like a cent and a quarter, or whatever, and a cent, 1.8 of a cent or something, whatever, so the idea of the, yeah, it does add up. So not only is it putting maybe money back into people's pockets, it
Mhm.
sounds like it's also an opportunity to meet goals that we have to be meeting by state standards for
Mhm.
green energy.
Yep,
And it also sounds like it's offsetting any kind of part of our carbon footprint. So it sounds like we're meeting a lot of different pieces. And on top of that, we should also note that it's gonna be using a piece of land that is probably not really gonna have any other development on it. This is probably the best we could do for what's
Right.
there,
Right,
if that makes
piece,
sense.
Yeah.
so don't quote me, but just the energy savings should be somewhere around $4,000 a year.
Wow.
That's just that piece. Then there's the stipends that he's gonna be giving us.
Right.
And there's the $12,000 a year lease. Right, 12? Is it $1,000 a month? I can't remember now.
Something like that. That does
I
sound
don't
like-
recall.
No, I think it was
seeing
more
that
than that. I
amount
think it was
in here.
30,000 because it was,
I think
it was twice as much as we pay now for testing.
Okay.
So it must have been $5,000 a month. 'Cause
I don't remember seeing that in here, in this
It's in the
this
other, it's
proposal
in the
letter.
other agreement.
Okay,
So you've got that income, which covers all of our testing, which will still have to go on in
Mhm.
conjunction with this.
Right.
It's really quite a win-win.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then the hydrogen projects, if you buy a little bit of water, there's another sale.
Right.
Yeah, it does meet some other goals there as
And the
well.
fact that if we have something important for the community, like say, like you said,
That's just an example,
right,
But
that,
even the examples he gave were awesome,
yeah. I mean, maybe you can help improve our Bob Venn Park,
Yeah, well,
because
I'm
that
sure we'll
would be
come
for
up
the
with some very
community.
unique ways to apply that, so it's applied to the community.
So,
Yeah.
that's quite a few things on, if you count all that up. It's all good.
Okay,
so it's like any solar farm though, that term is 35 years. So,
So we better hope it's all good.
yes. And Matt did review this proposal, by the way.
and that was my next question.
Yes. I
Very
did.
Whether or not legal counsel had looked through this and whether or not this seemed advantageous for the town.
Yeah,
It also fits within our new
our new code as
Right.
well.
It does.
Mhm.
Yep.
So-
there's a benefit there.
Next thing is approval of consulting firm to revise the comp plan. So let's see, the RFP was sent out several months ago. We received these quotes. You know, what I did was I made a photocopy of the bottom line page, I'll call it, is the total cost. I think I went through them, they're all comparable, but they all display things somewhat differently. They did follow the RFP and meet all the criteria, from what I can see. But at the end of the day, you've got one at 111,500, one at 90,000, and one at 131, I believe.
What page is this one?
These would be these big packets that got scanned out to you. There would be a lot of documentation to go through.
Oh, yeah.
And
So your cheat sheet, where's that one?
the sheet, well, like I said, I went into each packet after I didn't read cover to cover, but I tried to review it to make sure they met all the criteria. And then I looked at what I call the bottom line page, is where they put out the monies, the fees. So then you gotta look at, do you take the lowest one? Do you go with someone that you worked with? Do you go with their,
So you have Barton and Judas, you have River Street,
and you have
and you have AAS.
Yep. Yes.
So summarize what you feel your findings are, Tom, and then we can.
Well, okay. River Street has already done work for the village. They have already looked deeply into our zoning and our comp plans, of course, because they're the ones that did the grant application. So they've already familiarized themselves
With us.
great with our documents.
Okay.
What's their price?
They are
Just
including the zoning, so that's what this means, total project budget with optional task, which is, oh no, that's the flood risk assessment, sorry, that's including the flood risk assessment. They're at 111,500. Without it, they're at 104,500. So that includes the comp plan and the zoning amendments as well. Of course, that's based off receiving grants for that. That's how all of these were requested.
Right. So you said 111,500?
Yeah, so it's 104,500 without the flood risk assessment, and then 111,500 with it. Now, AES, I'm gonna find out now if that include the floodplain, because the total that they came from was a lump sum of 90,000. Which I believe compares to the 104, but I wanna. That included the flood risk.
It did.
Yep, according to this. No, I went into the wrong one, please don't do that.
So that was Barton and Judas.
I was just looking at River Street again.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay.
I got the wrong packet. If anybody needs a packet too, I got extras of these.
Well, you know my feelings on Barton and whatever their name is.
Well, they came in quite higher, so I don't
Substantial.
think we have to worry about that.
Oh, well.
Isn't that a shame?
Where is it?
Do Did we get approved for the grade yet?
We won't know that until December, but even if we approve who we're gonna hire, it's dependent on the grant. It doesn't lock us, in, we're not locked in.
Right.
But I have had requests from one of the three on where we're at.
And this is for the sewer?
This is for comprehensive plans, this is for
Oh,
everything to do with zoning. So
just so.
this would renew the comp plan, which then drives new zoning laws.
So not.
I don't see where it includes the floodplain. Under AES it is.
So, I mean, if we look at River Streets, we're talking about a $7,000 difference for the floodplain. So if we were to add that, that's still 97,000. Right? I mean, I mean, estimate,
Just,
estimate, I don't know,
right. But I guess.
again, assumption.
Because in the RFP, I did not request that flood risk assessment, but two of these people added it in as an option.
And because of the location, it's not required, though? We don't have to have that flood assessment?
I don't know, Rick, I didn't request it, that's all I can tell you, that's part of.
I think it would be wise to have it included, just to kind of cover our bases.
I did too.
Right, how much is between the river, the lake?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And time, over time, we're gonna see that lake level come up even more.
Yes,
I believe that.
I do, I think you're so right.
And
It's
it looks
just
like
a-
AES did our last zoning law rewrite, at least that's what they told us there.
I won't forget being out on Point of Fair and having a devil of a time to get to my house. Thank God for Alan. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to get to work.
Correct.
Yeah, I did not see where they included it
came out.
in here.
And you don't have a contact number for him, just to maybe text him and find out if we can, if that flood assessment's included?
No, but if you wanted to table it, it wouldn't be the end of the world, like. we could-
November 2nd
We
is the
could-
last date for questions, correct?
Mhm.
And November 15th is when we have to make a decision. But we want to move faster than that, correct?
Mhm. Well, or if we want to rule one of these out so I can notify one,
Okay.
that's fine too.
Okay.
So yes, we could table this, and you give me the questions and I'll get them answered. And one of them would be, does this include flood risk assessment and
Correct.
planning?
Well, with all
Because I don't
the
see it.
flooding problems we've had in Champlain and.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of properties affected by.
Do you have any other questions for either of these firms?
I don't, I just, in terms of, I've looked through them, I haven't really spent an awful lot of time, but enough to kind of, I think, give me, an understanding that, I think they're offering very similar products.
Yeah, because they follow, they follow the
Correct, the
RFPs.
specs,
Follow
correct,
the specs.
correct.
Well, let's do this, let me get that answer for one.
Okay, and Barton LaJudas, can you summarize what they, just so we have it out for the public?
And we can have a see if they included the flood risk assessment.
I know my son worked at AES for a while and really liked, he felt they were very thorough.
Mhm.
And nothing but good things to say about them.
I know they've worked for the school, I know,
Mhm.
in many facets, so.
I don't see where they've added the flood risk assessment and planning to their total for both components, both the comp plan and the zoning, total is 131,944.
That's AES or?
No, that's
Bargain
Bargain
Logistics.
Logistics. So I mean, in my mind, that rules them out and brings me down to choose between two of them, based off cost.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. And we come in $20,000 higher than the second highest,
Yeah,
so.
well, well, I'm a big believer of only once. Shame on you, only
Grants.
twice.
And that grant that we applied for, that we'll hear back in December, how much of the cost is this anticipating?
And if I remember correctly, it was 90%.
I thought it was, that's why I
It
wanted,
was up there.
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know if it was 85%, that's why I
It was one or the other.
asked. Okay.
So I will get an answer from AES on this. I guess I would ask you, and I will try to do the same, I'll look at the two we're comparing at this
Right.
point, closer,
Correct,
okay?
yeah.
And then next month, we will hopefully be able to.
And you said you have more paper copies of each of those proposals?
Just AES. You need one?
No, I'll go off the PDF I have, because that was forwarded to us by Julie.
It was.
Yes.
But if you
it
need, for some reason, I have
No.
like 4 copies.
I'm okay with that, because I
I'll take
highlight,
one, Tom.
I highlight my
Yeah,
PDFs.
Tom, I'll take one too. Because,
Hang on. That's 2 of them down there.
thank you.
Slide it.
Let me just make sure it's the same thing I have.
Okay, so basically that's table while we
If it's
do,
yours, I'll keep it.
while we get questions answered.
This is the one I have, and I'll grab yours while we're here.
I will,
Thank you.
would it be safe to give it a week and make sure we don't have any further questions before I make phone calls? Or do you want me to piecemeal it and get the answer to this one first?
Well, I mean, these prices are non-negotiable, I take it.
Right, I don't think that negotiating price, but making sure that we're comparing apples to apples is what I'm trying to do. So,
And we've worked with AES before.
yeah, we've been working with them with this booster pump station, and apparently they did a rewrite. I don't know if it was the last time we did zoning law. rewrite.
Scott Allen, right?
Yeah.
DES is there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we work with them.
Yeah.
So they're good. They're reputable. So,
We can get into, I guess, those decisions closer once we figure out if the prices are, the services are equal. Then we can decide what to do.
so,
Okay?
so we're just gonna table this for now.
We're gonna table that till next month and.
Okay.
And let's do our due diligence over the next few weeks and try to, if there's any more questions.
Right,
Get them out.
because
there.
November 2nd is the
Yeah, I
deadline.
think this helps the
This
one's
focus,
just
so
gonna
now we
fly
can,
by.
there's a little bit more understanding about what we should be looking, yeah, I get what you're.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the RFP for mechanical and plumbing services for booster pump section 50. That's what this one was.
Correct.
Right, that I wrote up. I did, actually, Brad at AES reviewed this for me. And I had a couple of comments that were very useful. So I did that as a favor, as being part of the contract for the
Nice.
project manual.
Mhm.
So they have been very helpful in both of these firms, whenever we worked with,
Well, we did look at River Street.
River
Was she the
Street.
one that
yes,
was talking
Yes.
to? She was very helpful.
yes, they've both been very, very good, so we've got to keep that in mind as we move forward.
Yeah.
This here is to put this out with the project manual, which is getting fine tuned a little bit right now. It got sent to the health department. We got some feedback from them. So there's a couple minor additions being done to satisfy their suggestions. So as soon as that comes back in, I'd like to send this out to 3 local contractors up here in North Country. I should have wrote them down, you know. JFP is one of them. The one that's working at the school now, I can't think of the name of them. And the third one, I'll let you know, but
Okay.
there's 3 of them that would fit this criteria for this type of a job. And if I can think of a 4th one, I'll do 4. But we need at least 3. And there was a lot of,
And this is pretty time sensitive.
this is,
So-
as soon as they get that thing done, yeah, I wanna get this out there. I mean, this work can be done in the winter. For one thing, this equipment has to be ordered.
Right?
Therefore, we're probably looking at months and months of lead time just to get everything. God
But
knows.
I thought there was leaking and there's also damage that.
Well, the elbow we
some
changed.
Pretty, right.
But-
So there's nothing time sensitive in regards to.
There is.
Like this month, next month,
As soon as possible, I gotta put it in there, didn't I?
you did, that's why I'm asking.
ASAP.
So,
So you got one pump that's leaking a little bit. Now, if that thing decided to completely fault, you can isolate it, pull it off, go have it rebuilt out of
Okay.
our water fund, you know, I don't know. But let's say, I'm gonna throw a number out there of $1,000, put it back in, get it going again.
okay,
It's not out of the question.
okay. How long would constituents that receive water be down without?
They shouldn't be because the other pump would just have to run
Take care of,
full
okay,
tilt.
all right,
Okay? The bladder tanks, they're quite certain that they're collapsed inside, but they probably have been for a long time. That could be contributing to some of our chlorine issues that we have once in a while, because if it's built up with crap in there, it's eating up the chlorine.
okay.
So, needs to be done
Mhm.
as soon as we can.
Mhm.
So as soon as I get that thing back from them, I wanna, send this out, so if you're okay with the way it was written, then I'm just gonna attach it to their document and forward it out. I do see one thing, the heading is screwed up on page 1, it's not, it's missing a hard return. It doesn't match the rest of them, but other than that, and I'll have to adjust the date, of course, accordingly to when I get that email. I'm hoping I have it by the 15th, I don't know if I will or not.
Right. You have it by the 15th, and those would be out by next week, early next week? 17th, 18th?
Mhm.
Okay.
And if I don't, I'll just have to adjust the dates out,
Right.
however many days it takes. I'm really waiting for that rewrite from the principal engineer, Jim. I don't, do you think we need a motion for that? I don't think so. Maybe all reviewed it, we good with it?
That's good.
Okay.
I thought it was fine.
Seems to be in order.
Okay. Yes, scheduled budget meetings? Really?
Yeah, so I can advertise them.
So you can advertise them, so that is October 16th. or
Correct.
9.
5 o'clock?
I believe that's what it was,
Yep.
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the 26th at 5.
Correct.
What was
Okay,
the other one, the second one?
October
26th.
26th.
There we go. And that's a Wednesday, right?
This transfer that we have to do next is different than what we did? Huh?
I think so, yeah. Pretty sure it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, so next thing is I need a motion to transfer ARPA funds, COVID money, from A 9901.9 to SW 7-8310.4, $6,836.
I'll make a motion to transfer COVID money from A 9901.9 to SW 7-8310.4 in the amount of $6,836.
I second that.
Thank you, roll call please.
Councilmember Rochester,
Aye.
Councilmember Bory,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley.
Aye. Thank you. As you can see under old business, Rick, we will review the noise ordinance that you've drafted, thank you. And we'll hopefully have a determination for next month, we can address that. As you know, the SS2 financing is certainly on hold.
Thank you.
Right.
It probably will remain there, but we want to just keep it in the radar. To Jeff Travers, for the employee handbook and town policies, I will speak with Sarah tomorrow and determine if we want to schedule that getting started, or if she wants to hold till next budget, we'll figure that out. And then the dog law, we still need to look at that. Was Brian the one?
I gave you that, those three pieces.
I'm happy to do
I did.
that. Were you supposed to compare it to RP and?
I think I compared it to a number of municipalities, it wasn't just RP, I think it was a company, but I gave that to you at the last meeting.
Okay, and I obviously forgot it in the,
There's a lot there for your toting around, I'm sure.
We'll go out there to, work
you
through it.
think it was last month?
I know it was,
Okay.
yeah. Because it was on the old business agenda, and you brought it up, and
Then it's gotta
I
be,
gave you a copy of it.
then it should be in the packet.
It should be, correct.
Okay. Is there any other?
And I think you said you were gonna sit down with Jody and kind of see what his thoughts were.
Yeah, I remember it now, you're right.
Yeah.
And I haven't done that,
That's
so
right.
I need to.
You got enough on your plate.
Yeah.
So we have to schedule the public hearing for the budget too, for next month.
Right.
In November.
So it'd be 7:30, because the other, last one is at 7:15.
Okay.
7:30, the
So do you have a
budget.
motion on that? Right? Need a motion to set the public hearing for 7:30?
Was it 7:30 or 7:45? I thought we had something at 7:30, no?
No.
Oh,
last
no,
one
that
is
was
at
the resolution, I
7:15.
was thinking that I'm sorry, go ahead. Excuse me.
There's a lot of stuff on that date.
It's-
Oh my gosh.
That was resolution 23, I was thinking.
Will we ever be able to go home that night? Sounds like a.
So budget approval, public hearing, 2023 budget will be on November
8
8th
at
at 7:30.
7:30.
Okay.
And you gotta put the water
7:30
bills, too.
PM. 11/8.
Okay, so any other new business would be that.
Okay.
Water bills.
We need to approve the water bills that were presented.
No new customers on this side, Julie?
Just one.
And who is that new customer?
Dubois Road,
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that? And who is the, what's the account number?
5118
5118
Harvey.
on the Dubois Road.
Yes, got hooked up.
And all hooked up now?
Yeah, age 19.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a,
So that's effective October or November?
oh,
Because this is-
October.
Correct.
Yeah,
So this
it's-
is October.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I had sent an email out to the water commissioners to discuss the billing for that, one of them was that specific hookup. So I haven't got a reply back yet. You guys know, in general, let's start with this. There's about $1,500 worth of parts and labor. How has that been handled in the past? Who's responsible for what?
I thought it was on the parcel owner. Right? I could be wrong,
No,
but if we look back in our past minutes, I think we're gonna find that. Let me back up. I think sometimes it's a case-by-case scenario, but
I think we should create a policy so it's not.
I agree. I agree.
Because
Yeah,
I'm not
because-
fine, because I'm not getting the same answers from whoever I ask. I'm
I
not,
thought we put it on the customer.
So, I go along with what Rick's saying. I believe if you hooked up while the pipe was being laid and all of that, it was all covered. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Correct.
all part, so.
but of course, then you're referring to the new sections of the district. And here we're in an old section of the district. So it really doesn't apply to that scenario, because this pipe was in since the 90s. Since Miramar built.
Well,
That-
That's old
I
pipe.
don't know.
That is old pipe. I think that almost kinda, that's a good,
See my point?
yeah.
It doesn't apply to the same
Yeah,
criteria.
you got, devil's advocate there, I don't know.
I
Does
don't-
it still work then?
Working fine.
I don't know what the precedent is.
I don't know what the precedent is either.
Yeah, I was hoping Brian would be here, because hopefully he could shed some light on this.
He might be able to, yeah, because he's got the
I'll
longest.
have to call him.
Longest view.
I tried calling him one day for this, but he obviously.
If you
wasn't
email him,
feeling
I think you'll
I have.
get a return.
And Rick, I don't wanna speak for
I
you.
don't think he's feeling well.
But I think what you just mentioned, Tom, the idea that we probably should try to formalize something moving forward is not a bad notion.
That way everybody's getting the same
That's
answer.
right, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have more new customers, hopefully.
Keep him fingers crossed.
Well, here's another one. I mean, we're gonna have the border patrol station.
Correct.
So we gotta treat everybody the same, right? So I went to Julie to see if there's anything in our town code referring
There
to
isn't
this, and
anything.
there's nothing. I asked Chris, he has no clue.
What if you reached out to Mickey Tetra,
That might
is
also
my
be-
recommendation?
I did call Mickey.
You did he ever get back to us?
Because he would know.
Yeah, but I
Yes.
forget what he
He
said.
was around
At least
here.
give
a
you
lot.
some idea.
Right.
Yes.
And I think you're gonna find that with, because this is not new pipe, I don't know. Only Mickey can answer this, I bet you. I don't even know if Brian can, maybe.
I got a feeling that we're gonna be, without a procedure, we're kind of stuck.
Open ourselves
Like a
up,
protocol.
I agree. No, I don't disagree. So you still need approval on this, right, with water?
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the utility billing for water dated October 11th, 2022.
I second that motion.
So,
All in favor, or do I need to go call on that? Just all in favor,
I don't
right?
think we've ever done all roll call. on
All in
that.
favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, if there's no other new business, I welcome a motion to adjourn.
Can it be?
So move, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, exactly. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?